Okay.
That's promising. So advanced. At that.
Woohoo. We have heat maps.
That's where I left off. Thankfully, I've just recently developed a mental practice called Zen Stoicism. Putting that to use right now. World Historical Gazetteer is an ambitious place data infrastructure project. It's not a single gazetteer. This is the homepage about to be revealed of version 3. What kind of data sets, what kind of contributed data sets are there? I don't know how much you can see there, but there's quite a variety in size and scope and geographic coverage. This is a new gallery page. You can see there's 71 public data sets at the moment. There's another page. I had to throw in something about the ancient world. So there's Crete, a preview of a Crete data set. There are several important historical gazetteer systems out there in the world, and one of the we've drawn a lot from their experience, and I would say Pleiades was definitely one, and also Vision of Britain. So we're in the process of accessioning the entire Vision of Britain data set, in which is 20-something thousand. This is a little sampling. This is a new data set presentation publication phase. There's mention made of indigeneity, and we're really focusing, one of our focuses is on filling in the map and finding indigenous place names and including those and linking those with the non-indigenous place names. So the linking takes place at a record level within the system. So there are features and tools that allow for your individual record for a place to be linked with somebody else's individual record place, which is kind of abstract. And I'll mention here also talking about specialized gazetteer resources being available in annotation platforms like Cogito. You might choose to use Pleiades if your sources want that. You might choose use other resources. World Historical Gazetteer is a publication platform for specialized gazetteers, and the interface to its data will include the ability to specify individual data sets to use as a source or collections of data sets to use as a source. This is an important thing related to the Recogitos. So in practice, what does it mean to link the records for a single place? Well, these are 4 attestations for Oxford that live in a place portal page. So there's a nice, pretty, thanks to Stephen Gadd, there's a pretty presentation page for that demonstrating that there are 4, and maybe in time there'll be 40 on there. But really, under the hood, that data is accessible via the APIs. So our record for Oxford, for example, is really a set of attestations for Oxford, those that we have so far, or any given place if it's the case. This is an attempt to draw a virtuous circle, and it didn't turn out to be so circular, in graphically anyway. You might recognize yourself in this picture. The people studying the past and working with materials from the past from any number of disciplines, fields and clam and so on and so forth. They have geographic questions. They may simply want to map their sources, or they may have spatial questions. References to place in historical sources, as everybody here knows, come in the form of place names. So there's a major role for gazetteers to play in this whole ecosystem. So you find references to place, any number of variants or languages are involved. There's an excellent chance that you would find the particular variant you're looking for and be able to geolocate. So you've come to World Historical Gazetteer. There are several sets of use cases. One would be simply to search and browse in this graphical interface. And as I've shown in a couple of screens, that's certainly possible. Another is to geocode, as I said, to find locations for your place references. And another is to develop in this way, as you geocode your sources, develop a gazetteer of your work. And you have the option to publish it, which is the last step of the, I should say that we have significant tool in World Historical Gazetteer, it's reconciliation service. So we previously had 3.5 million Wikidata records to use for that geocoding. I've recently added 10 million or so geonames records, so now there are 13 million chances to find a location for the place reference that you have. In this way, you augment your data set. You upload a data set and reconcile it. Then you're augmenting it with geometry that may have been missing, and or name variants, and or authority identifiers. Wikidata holds loss and loss of authority identifiers. You have the option at that point to just simply download this augmented data and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. You might want to use it in some of the platforms that have been discussed, or other platforms, or do something in GIS and do something spatial analytical or whatever. That is an option. You also, as I mentioned, have the option to publish that data, to take steps forward to make your metadata complete enough to be an actual publication. Both your data set, a published data set, and all of the place records within it have permanent, quote unquote, identifiers. And in that sense, we really are a publication venue, and increasingly making that a focus. So we'll be minting DOIs for data sets so going forward. Some people have in mind to publish their gazetteer data sets. People do that work of taking the place references that they find in their historical sources and then geocoding them. It's really nice to have a place to put that stuff. Now, if you're working in the ancient world, well, you put it in Pleiades. Simple. And for some other specialized gazetteers, it's that simple also. But this is a very generic platform that it's a place for the world, all of the place names over all time in the world could conceivably live. Conceivably. The system can accommodate it. I should mention that there's an API. So one thing that we're doing is, for example, we've been working with Tom Elliott towards the goal of providing an API to Pleiades data that is configurable and manageable. So we will be indexing all Pleiades and some other major data sets. Those will be accessible from our API by specifying, as I've mentioned, a specific data set or set of data sets and so on. Threw this in at the last minute. People were talking about fuzziness and search, and this is definitely something that is new. So all of our search, whether it's in the API or whether it's in the interface, you have the option to look for these various modes. Say something about linked places format real quickly. It's been mentioned here, it was developed for use in the original Parapleo and for World Historical Gazetteer. It was kind of a joint effort with Reiner in mind, but also critically, Richard Light and Graham Klein were involved. And so a collaborative effort to develop this format, which is, we use it and it's increasingly seeing use elsewhere. It is GeoJSON LD, so it is valid RDF, and it's also valid GeoJSON. So all the stuff that normal GeoJSON doesn't have is ignored by any application that consumes GeoJSON. This ignores it. In places format principally is a temporal extension to GeoJSON. I think it was missing is a formal or standard way of expressing temporality. And just very quickly, I'll say that you can temporally scope an entire place record or any of its names, any of the name variants in that place record, which unlimited number, any of the place types, places change type, they move from village to city, archaeological site, relations and so forth, and of course, geographic extent, particularly of areas, but other kinds also. So all of those elements can be assigned a when property. This kind of, as I mentioned before, allows for a certain amount of fuzziness or flexibility, that is, that the start and end each have a start and end potentially. I'm racing. As I said, the project is large. There's a lot going on. No way I can cover it all, which motivated me to bring forth this old figure that I used to have on all of my slides. And version 3, within a week, I think, will be available.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Do we have any questions for Carl?
sorry, my hearing is terrible, so
That's slightly weird.
Yeah, I'm going to walk towards you.
Would you include what 3 words as a gazetteer?
3 words?
Yeah, it's a location system where each 3
people have had significant experience in doing that successfully for a variety of cases, and we're actively after that. This is why do this if it can't stay up? And I can hear Tom Elliott saying now, well, it's the data, man.
But
And it will be the data.
I think it's a really key thing because we're going through this at the moment with Historic England, with our
Yeah.
Harveyville, with the sustaining our stuff.
Yeah.
How do we pay the structure we're giving to the historic environment community? It's like, we don't want to pay for it really long term. So, well, how do we pay for it? That's the thing. Is all these projects are really going to be
Especially when we need hospitals and schools and
Haven't
Cultural
thought about
heritage.
that yet. But Vision of Britain, which is a phenomenal, if you're not familiar with the Gazetteer for Britain, it's just a phenomenal thing that's it's kept alive and kept going by ongoing, barely noticeable ad income.
It's a really good comment from Tom
Yeah.
about edition. It's quite useful.
Tom, yes, Tom, this is, I think, in another follow-up to Peter's questions, Tom Brady. Yes. There are significant concerns about primary or preferred place names as often found in gazetteers. Who gets to decide what is primary or preferred? Indigenous users or period colonizer lands? Yes. And on that note,
We don't,
we'll have a break, I think.
okay,
Let's think about it.
I have something to say about it.
Go on, say it, and we'll have a break.
No.
No? Oh, come on, yeah.
I think I answered it before, actually, to Peter's question, which is that the more links an attestation is made, so these links are made by the creators of the data. So the more linked an attestation is, the more authority it has, crowd or community authority in some sense. It's an impossible question.
Well, isn't the problem with relying on a lot of links? You just get links from communities that have internet access.
This is the title of my talk at Spatial Humanities in Bamberg coming up this fall is the promise and pitfalls of linked data for historical gazetteers. And there are, so there's definitely quality issues. But overall, we feel that having these sets of place attestations is useful. And when you examine it just like you examine any other historical source, and there'll be outliers and things that you discount and so forth.